Hey, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of our third season of Parallel Barking.
Woof, woof. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. I hope everyone is having a fabulous summer.
Unless you're in Kentucky, look forward and
Yeah,
may they
we,
be protected. It's been horrible in some places.
yeah. It has been an interesting summer weather-wise, to say
Right.
the least, to say the very least. But we took a short hiatus, a break, if you will. But we're back with some crazy news for you. You
Right.
might have been aware,
Not about global
oh,
warming.
not about the climate change.
We're going to be talking about another heat producing activity.
Yes, we are talking about some outraged people, and perhaps you will be outraged too. I was one of those outraged people when I heard
I'm
how
never outraged anymore.
well, this was all the flutter on Twitter, when a Walgreens store clerk refused to sell condoms to a couple in Wisconsin on religious grounds. And you're saying to yourself, what? How can this happen? Is
I'm
this
not saying
even
that.
legal?
I'm not saying that.
Of course you're not. But
I'm
maybe
actually
our
laughing.
listeners are, perhaps.
All right. So tell them the story.
So about maybe 3 weeks ago, there was a boom of social media users demanding a boycott of Walgreens after the company decided not to discipline a store clerk who refused to sell condoms to a couple because the store clerk felt that it was against their faith.
All right. Now you realize, let me stop you here for a second, because we have to do a podcast on boycotts at some point. But I ask, would it not have been much more effective rather than to take your business from, is it Walgreens?
It is Walgreens.
All right, to instead of taking your business from Walgreens, to organize a series of events where you have as many people as you can get walk into every Walgreens on earth
To try to
uh,
buy many
to,
condoms.
to buy condoms, and then to have it all filmed and then put up on video all of their experiences in buying condoms,
Absolutely.
and just flood. I guess grandma would watch this on Facebook. Your parents would watch it on Twitter or Instagram, and I forget, and everyone else will watch it on TikTok or whatever it is that people are using. And that might have been a much more interesting story, which would have kept this thing going long enough to start our third season. But you have to wonder, there's a certain mindlessness to boycotting. It reminds me of this kind of creeping laziness, even
Yeah,
in
it is the first thing that a lot of people go to. And, it does at first make a lot of sense. But because you're affecting the bottom line
not
in a
really.
lot of people's minds. You're trying to affect the
The
bottom
last time
line.
that happened was in the 1960s and lettuce,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
which
and
are
it's not
essentially
like condoms are driving Walgreens profits, people. So
right, but humiliation and mockery will.
that absolutely could, especially when it's spread over millions of views.
Right, right. And so when we look at this story, we notice this is kind of sneaky. We're looking at it from a slightly different angle, not the outrage angle, despite your outrage, Ariana.
I
Not the
am
outrage
outraged,
angle.
but it
But
could have been handled a lot better. And I am also one of the lazy people. I could have organized a protest. I could have done that. You could have done that.
right, but
But
the
we
trick
didn't.
is not to go and buy condoms. The trick is to go. It's kind of like borrowing the old 1920s agitprop to go and quite dramatically to seek to buy, and then to film and to put this up so that Walgreens will forever be the store where you can just have a laugh when you want to buy a condom. And it becomes which is something that, and if we ever have the courage, we can look at the current January 6th hearings. There's always a question when you're looking at protest and reaction, whether outrage and strong, humorless responses are more effective than humiliation and mockery and of diminishing. Because the more you treat something as serious, the bigger you make it, the more profound and important it becomes. The more you react to it with humiliation, mockery, and marginalization, the smaller you
The
make it,
smaller it becomes. You're right.
the smaller it becomes, and you just laugh these people, ideas, things, and including the extraordinarily overblown, talk about a 9% inflation rate, the extraordinarily overblown language, because it's all in text that Walgreens uses. Who cares? What everyone wants is to be able to go into Walgreens and buy whatever merchandise is on offer, and not to have one's life be made less comfortable. And indeed, well, I thought you were going to start by saying that, in fact, this is parody meets real life, because how many movies have we seen? How many movies have we seen where one of the funny scenes is where the protagonist
price
goes,
check on condoms,
or price check on tampons for a 14 or 15-year-old girl.
right?
Oh, it's not for me, it's for my big sister, right? It's kitsch. It's become just a cultural marker where you have a laugh. This person actually took it seriously, and so what you've done is you've turned farce into just even worse.
Yes.
Worse.
I mean, and
this
this cashier
comedy.
was super serious.
Right, but this is actually low comedy, which is why going, and the only possible response has to be even lower comedy, and that is to fill the airwaves with TikTok moments. This is actually, all right, so here we go. This is my first one, my TikTok challenge. Obnoxiously film yourself buying condoms at Walgreens and mock them for the small itty bitty silliness of their inability to figure out a way that they can effortlessly get their merchandise sold to a willing public. So that's my TikTok challenge to you all.
Yeah, I like
Post
that.
it. Post
I like
it.
that.
Send us a shout out.
Please buy those condoms from Walgreens and show us your pics, show us your videos. We want to see them. And also, if you can find any other fancy items that might make people uncomfortable to purchase at Walgreens, please take pictures of those as well.
Right. And then Walgreens can do what Walgreens should have done from the beginning. One, know your employees. If you've got employees who have very significant religious beliefs, you can respect them. But it's clear that someone who has really significant religious views about things that are being put on offer should be accommodated by being placed somewhere where they don't have to, where their faith doesn't have to be
put
tested.
them on the register. Put them in the back.
Especially on the condom register.
No, we need them all on the condom. There's a specific condom and
no, but that's the thing, exactly
register.
Right. So what Walgreens could do, and this would be even funnier, what Walgreens could do is set up a special, and thank you, Arianna, that was brilliant. But you can set up a special register at every Walgreens. And that is like you have a liquor line. Now you have a line for dirty magazines,
sexual pleasures.
Magazines with sexual content, tampons, other female hygienic products, and condoms and other lower body extremity or fun sexual.
Lower body cleanser and.
Right. Although then it becomes a real issue. If you are buying douche, right? Do you go to the condom feminine hygiene special line where the Walgreens employees won't be offended? Or can you take your douche bag and
That
go to
that is a
the general
very
line.
good
So
question.
we
Would
will
that
have
be against somebody's religious?
it is possible. If my body is my temple, do I want to spritz it with something that's
Can
foreign?
somebody police somebody else's
Well,
douching?
you know what we'll have to do then? Walgreens will have to go full Facebook. And they'll have to set up one of those commissions
Yes.
where if you're in doubt, you can appeal to the judges, the Walgreens content line judges. So before
Yes.
you go in, you can send a
We'll need to
message
be able
to
to
the
submit.
right to the judges at Walgreens saying, I'm anticipating buying a combination of douche, feminine, lubricants of some
Okay,
kind,
what other male items
and
can we?
right, and jock itch cream,
Good, thank you.
and jock itch cream and condoms.
Thank you.
What line should I go in? What if can I give the condoms to my 12-year-old daughter to buy while I stand in line with the other stuff because I'm also buying a bottle of wine?
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That's a great, yes.
Right.
These are
And the
all
mockery,
great
right.
use cases.
Right. And the mockery continues. Although, this certainly would be a viable option.
Yeah. I mean,
and
who is the
again,
product owner for this new cash register? They need to get on this.
right. And if you want to do it really fun, you can have like product days. So you can make sure that your condom and female unmentionable products aisle may have some like strobing lights. And then you
So
can
you know where it is, the people.
right. And and if you want to hide it, right, what Walgreens can then do is have all kinds of functionally differentiated lines. So there'll be line for household cleaning products, and you'll have a mop on top of it. There'll be lines for food products. And then Walgreens can say, well, you can't mix your products. So if you're buying food products, you can't buy them at the same time that you're
You
buying
cannot mix
cleaning products because
sexually
there's two separate
promiscuous
lines.
products with your food products. But what if, see, here's where it gets hairy. What if you use food products with
Oh my God, I saw that
your,
movie, or I've heard about it.
what if you use honey, for
And the sad thing
instance,
is that those
to
movies 50 years
douse your
ago,
partner?
right, 50 years ago, those movies would have been NC7, and what is it, NC-17?
Yes, that is.
Nowadays, they're on prime time because
They're PG-13. Come on.
they're PG-13, right? Right. And so maybe what we'll have to do is and the clerk is going to have to know, because depending on your intent, they may or may not be able to check you out. So if you're buying a bunch of bananas and you're having a party with males and females, because you're going to serve bananas everywhere, will the clerk be obliged to ask the buyer, what is the intended purpose of the banana?
What if this couple was buying the condoms to decorate their house? What if they were going to blow up the condoms and decorate the house with condoms?
What if they were buying the condoms for grandma in the nursing home because they just read an article that nursing homes tend to be extraordinary pits of licentiousness?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Okay, but still that would still probably cross the religious line. What if
Right, but they'd have to ask. They'd have to ask. And
yes,
that's
exactly. That is the point. That is the point. You'd have to ask intent.
Right. What are you using the Drano for?
But is it
I'm
their
going
business?
I'm going to kill my next door neighbor. Or I'm going to kill my next door neighbors. And okay, there's no problem. Right. But and now you see where we go. So this is a real conundrum. One can appreciate and respect a person's religious beliefs, their internal beliefs. One can also respect the sanctity of marketplaces as a meeting grounds where all kinds of people with all kinds of beliefs gather together in a, sorry, I'm going to use a snowflake term, in a safe space.
All right,
for
boomer.
the interaction of those transactions, which the society as a whole deems do not violate social taboos in general. Now you at the margins, you have to accommodate, I suppose, but what that probably means is that poor worker is not going to be able to work the register, will have to work stocking. Oh, but he can't work stocking. What if you ask him to stock condoms?
Right. That raises another issue. Won't be able to stock the condoms, can only stock certain areas of products. Isn't that a conflict of interest for you, Walgreens? Are you, I mean, but maybe not.
Well, and then my question is, if you really believe this, what are you doing in a store that actually, unless you're into testing your beliefs, this is, the every day is a temptation of faith. What are you doing working in a store in which your faith is constantly being either disparaged or tempted or mocked? That is through the ritualized economics of condom transactions.
And then
Right,
someone
and
would say to you that that is the only job that they could procure at that time. Or
well,
something
and
like
the
that.
Walgreens may be the only place that's open for them to procure tampons, condoms.
Yeah.
Right, and so we go round and round and round.
Mhm,
Right? And
mhm.
the issue ultimately becomes much more difficult in a sense, and one that ultimately requires all kinds of choices, especially with respect to choices about the principles underlying shared spaces for economic transactions, which are not viewed, generally speaking, in the society as taboo. So this isn't like the purchase of underage children, right, or the purchase of bombs. It's the purchase of either goods or services which are generally viewed to be lawful in and of themselves.
Right, and for personal use. It's not
Or,
for
I mean,
whatever use. It's
yeah, no, I mean, I go to Sam's and I'll buy a whole bunch of napkins that I'm then going to use to operate my restaurant. So it's not my person, in a sense, it's my
it
personal
is your
use,
personal use to
but I'm
operate
still
your
using it
business.
to make, I'm still using it to make money, right? So it's personal. Again, all these words become problematic. And
Mhm.
and by the time we finish digging our way down the rabbit hole, we find ourselves in an upside down land in which it's very easy to get
In
lost.
the upside down.
But still, in a sense, this is Walgreens' problem. And from what I understand, Walgreens, as is typical for administrators, and someone is going to have to go and not literally, but figuratively burn down schools for the training of administrators and bureaucrats and rebuild them from the bottom up. Because but this is an old thing. People have been complaining about this for 3,000 years. The administrative bureaucratic response of Walgreens was somewhat less than inspiring, if I remember correctly.
Oh yes, it was something like no rules were broken.
Well,
So
okay, and what does that mean?
they don't have to do any follow-up or any disciplinary action because
Oh, good.
according to
So,
them, their company policy was not violated.
oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. And so the next time grandma goes to buy some condoms for her boyfriend, and she's mocked and humiliated, will that be okay too? Or worse, grandma goes and buys herself some other product and then she's humiliated for having bought it.
Well, I mean, they're
Right.
so
And I mean,
confident that their
that's really
policies are designed
to
to
humiliate the
meet the
customers.
needs of their patients and customers.
Which is why I again renew my TikTok challenge. If Walgreens policy is to tolerate the humiliation of the customers from
It
whom they're
obviously is.
extracting money,
It is.
then this calls for a TikTok challenge.
Yes.
And we'll
Yes.
see if
TikTok,
Walgreens
Twitter
employees are
challenge.
up to the challenge, because the next question is, well, do the employees get a bonus for their skill at humiliating, which is another
I
series
know.
of
I mean, there could have been so many other ways to handle this. Like, clerk, why didn't you just offer up another clerk who may have been willing to sell those condoms to someone? Nope. It was just
well,
can't have those condoms.
and thank you, and we can end on this. I think our time is getting close. And that's actually the most interesting part of the whole thing, because while the clerk could have just said, excuse me a minute, and gone, and the procedure set up for them to go and get someone else, switch registers for a minute or whatever. It could have been done seamlessly, effortlessly, or whatever. It was clear that the employee, or one could make a case that the employee actually uses as an opportunity to not just to practice their faith, but to project
it onto someone
an
else.
unwilling person. And
how dare you?
Well, and that ought to be as troubling as forcing the employee to act against their own faith, because in a way,
you're policing someone else's behavior.
Right. Walgreens should not be a place where the adherents of one religion should be able to use their position of very limited authority to mock or humiliate the religious beliefs or lack of beliefs of the people with whom they're dealing, or to use it as a site for proselytizing. And proselytizing and witnessing one's faith can be very different in a variety of different ways. And none of that was, of course, picked up.
Right.
Right. And in this case, silence and accommodation on all sides might have been the better option.
Yes.
But no, this person had to be as theatrical as they could be. And then everyone runs and hides behind religion or religious beliefs. And that's a cop-out here, because in fact, it wasn't just defensive, it was offensive in every sense of that term onto an unwilling person in a way that would make them feel not just socially, but morally and religiously inferior.
Inferior, right.
Right. And that is something that perhaps ought to be taken in mind. So are you up for the TikTok challenge?
I am. I'm going to go spread the word. Everybody should do it.
All right. Any last words on this one?
That's it. Everybody needs to do this challenge. We'll be waiting for your submissions.
Or maybe write to Walgreens and suggest that there are
alternatives.
But again, expect a lot more of this. And we've talked about this in earlier podcasts. For those of you who missed them, this is in season 2. And that is part of all of this is it's a long running theme, but part of it is also there's permission now. We've talked about the difference between and we go back to the abortion case, right? There between the law of the abortion case in the Dobbs case and the principle of the abortion case, which now is viewed as a kind of permission to do this. And we'll have future podcasts where we're talking about the future of free exercise. There's all kinds of permissions that then detach as a political principle from the very narrow and well-constructed.
Yes, and this is happening
everywhere.
Rapidly. People are now taking this as a general permission to project their beliefs,
right,
and police other people
because of a reconstruction of a political principle that is only tenuously tied to its quote-unquote source. But anyway, I leave you with that. Until next time, woof woof,
bark bark. Thanks everyone, and we will see you next time.